Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. Here talking all things triple PD today. So wonderful to be home. I've been 9 days on the road again and having a wonderful time. I have celebrated my daughter's 21st birthday, which was absolutely wonderful. And, that's obviously one little milestone that has been, so incredibly wonderful because, I reflect on that, and I'm bringing that information because it's just part of the journey in which, all of us, go through our lives dealing with triple PD and thinking about our lives and what happens during those years as our lives just, move forward at a very, very slow pace, dealing with our symptoms on a daily basis with triple PD, how debilitating it is, how incredibly hard it is to function normally as a normal person. And the reflection that I had with, the milestone of my beautiful daughter turning 21 was how much of that time have I been unwell with, my symptoms of, lots of, flares and different bouts of triple PD and vestibular migraines. And, as a child, how, she must have looked at me so many times and just thought, what's wrong with my mother? Like, why does she grab hold of me every time we have to cross the road? Or why does she have to hold on to me when we're walking down the street? Or, she just became so accustomed to me reaching out to her all the time to basically help hold me up as we walk down the street because it was so incredibly debilitating. And, she's seen me at my worst. She's seen me with, lying on the couch there, just absolutely not being able to move or function with the most horrific migraines any person could ever describe. And, being administered and being told to take medications from doctors and things when, you've taken it and all of a sudden you're as high as a kite and you're away with the fairies and you can't even function properly. So, we don't know what all of these medicines do to our body, and we don't know how they're going to affect us and all of those things. And you add those medicines to a already upset vestibular system deep inside your brain, and you don't know how you're going to react to it. So, that's just adding sort of like more issues to your body. So if you can find, I'm not saying, take the medicine or not take the medicine, but, often, like, I've been given different medicines to take, and my body's so sensitive that I just really it just rejects so many things, so I just keep it really simple. But in saying that, it's been absolutely wonderful to be on the road, to be out there living my best life. I'm just feeling absolutely brilliant. And, reach out if you're looking, for ways to find, ways to improve your triple PD symptoms. And, I'm offering those one-on-one sessions. Email me, obviously on the YouTube channel page there, my email is available, and I'm absolutely very happy to personally email you back and give you a price or what have you on what service or anything that you're looking for. Some people are in difficult or different situations or different circumstances, so I cater to everybody. So You know, and as it goes, in my travels, it's just been so wonderful to connect with different people. And there's so many people out there that, not only with Triple PD, but just in general, are looking for some help, and that, you know, just need someone to talk to. And I've come across a couple of different people that have crossed my path, and they really made quite an interesting impact. And one particular lady, I went back to an Airbnb that I stayed at, and I thought I'd left something there. And so I very, you know, gently knocked on the door and, you know, apologized for my interruption, and, you know, was very sort of quite cautious about things. But I had a little conversation with her at the door. She was an elderly lady, and, you know, I obviously went there with a certain type of energy about me. I was very courteous and kind, and I just said, look, was it left there on the sideboard? Did she mind having a little look for me? And she said she didn't mind. She had a look, it wasn't there, and that's all okay. And I said, well, look, I really appreciate you taking a look for me. Thank you for your kindness today. You're a very kind person. And this little old lady said, I'm not a kind person. And I said, well, you have been very kind to me today. And she literally smiled at me. And I could see that when she smiled at me, and I've really slowed down with my talking with this because I want you to hear it. She's walking around there in the world all alone on her own, thinking she's not a nice person. And yeah, maybe she's not a nice person. Maybe she's really cranky. Maybe she's really upset. Maybe someone's really broken her heart. Maybe her family are estranged from her. Maybe, you know, something's happened and she's really bitter about something. But when she's walking around every day thinking she's not a nice person, that is so incredibly toxic to her body. And, you know, that message, I really want you to hear that today, because that bitterness and that literal energy she's walking around with, thinking that she's not a kind person, is going to eat her up inside. And so when I said to her, well, thank you, you've been very kind to me today, and she smiled, I just pray that that changed something for her in that moment, you know, that just maybe switched a little something that could possibly give us something to think about at least. So, you know, this is what I talk about, is that I would love everybody here on the Triple PD channel to check in with yourselves and think about rather, what is your talk? What is your chat? What are you saying to yourself? You know, is it positive or is it poison? I have already said this on a different, you know, channel post before, but it's really a lot of these words that we talk about, a lot of this internal chat that's going on inside of our head is really important. And if you're you know, walking around every day, or if you're at home and you're thinking, you know, nothing ever changes and everything's always the same, my day's always the same, there's nothing to look forward to, this is also hopeless, and you know, there's no point to any of this, this can't be fixed, this can't, you know, it's all just, you know, crap. Well, you're going to get absolutely more of the same. It's literally going to continue to be a reflection of the same for you day in and day out. And it's literally all about that internal chat. So one of the tools that I'm going to bring to today for you is, if you're finding that you're really overloaded with that chat in your head, I'd love for you just to recognize the flow of energy of that chat in your head. And when you feel that chat coming, that negative chat, that I can't do this or I can't do that, feel it as a wave, recognize the wave, thank it for coming. Say, I thank you for coming. I see what you say. I do not agree with what you say. And then I want you to drop down into your heart space. Think about your heart space for just a few moments. Even place your hand on your heart and literally take a few deep breaths and just live in your heart space for just a moment, taking those few big, deeper breaths, and start to connect with your heart space a little bit more. And then the more that you recognize those negative chat channels on a daily basis, recognize it, and then change the channel so that we're dropping back down into our heart space and then moving on from that. And so just doing that little exercise of changing the energy around it may just, change something for you. So, and then someone else I had the pleasure of meeting, he was an absolute delight. He was a really, young fellow, just had some really difficult circumstances, but had a really beautiful impact on me. I really loved spending some time with this young fellow. And, there was a reason why we crossed paths. And I spent some time going through a few little tools and a few little things with him. But afterwards, I just could tell that there was a shift. There was just a simple shift with the 3 little tools that I gave him to work with. There was just a tiny little shift in him that just changed his focus and gave him a few little things to look forward to the following week, or even from that day forward, and his energy changed for the better. So I wish him all the well, and those things and those people that we come across, and if we can just make a slight change, or if we can offer something, that's just a beautiful thing, because this world is really not about me against you. It's me and you, and if we can really just stop battling against our own systems and our own body and really start to listen, then it will make a world of difference. And one of the other things that I'd really love to just, bring to the channel for you today is, if you're at home, and we all spend a lot of time at home because our triple PD world keeps us at home. But, if you are out and about and you're getting on with your life and everything's, going great, well, bless you. And I think that that's wonderful, because that's, what it's about, is to get on and move on and, drop the shackles of triple PD, because it really is amazing, to do that and just to move on with your life. But I really want you to think about what you're wearing on your feet, because your feet are an incredible source to grounding, and grounding to the earth and grounding to the ground is really centrally important to also feeling where your body's at. So if you're walking around in your slippers all day, I perhaps wouldn't recommend that. And I also wouldn't recommend those really thick sneakers like the Hokas, or, sneakers that actually have got really thick soles that are actually forcing you forward on your toes or on the balls of your feet. I'd really love you to have some sort of really thin sole where you're actually really down on the flat bed of your foot. So shoes are great. I'm not saying walk around in bare feet, because you know that's, I mean, if you do, that's even better, but generally, you know, this time of year we need to have some socks and some shoes on, and I do think that we need to get around in shoes. But in saying that, the thinner the sole, the better you'll be in grounding yourself and also feeling where you are in the bottom of your feet, to know where your body is in space and time. So I'd love you to think about that a little bit too, as something else, if it hasn't been suggested before. But anyway, so great to be back. I'm home on the farm. My animals have all been wonderful. The guinea fowl are running around in front of me. So it's amazing. If you need to reach out and get in touch, send me an email. I'm very happy to email you back. I've had some clients come across my Facebook page as well. If you want to go and look that up, you can actually just search for Dizzy Sister. It's a new Facebook page, but connected to Dizzy Sister on the Facebook page is the company page called Crown Revolutions, and everything else can be found there as well. But anyway, love my YouTube page. I'm always going to be here for you guys, and have a great afternoon. Thanks for being here. Bye.